just that, navigate lives where their vulnerabilities far outweigh their possibilities. How do you do that? How do you turn those vulnerabilities into victories? It's not easy. But we now live in a moment. And I didn't come here to be politically incorrect. As I said, I've got my checks, so it don't much matter. But we live in a moment right now where we are seeing increasingly stumbling blocks, roadblocks being placed in front of certain people in this democracy. I believe, as Dr. King believed, people love to quote King when it comes to I have a dream. We act like Martin only gave one speech in his whole life. And we act like his speech only had one line in it. Negro lived 39 years, gave one speech. That speech had one line in it. That I want my children to live in a nation where they're not judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their skin. I know that's all you know. I guess you know no farther than that. I know that's all you know. Because that's all that the media puts on a loop and plays over and over again. Every year around the birthday, every year around the holiday, they will loop that dream part. And so we keep Martin with a smile on his face as a dreamer, because that's how America loves to see Martin. We don't want to deal with it. We don't want to deal with the unsettling, the unhousing, the inconvenient truths that Martin was trying to tell us in all them other talks. We don't want to deal with the truth that Martin was telling us, because the truth he was sharing with us is so subversive. He was so subversive then, and truthfully, so subversive now, that we can't handle the truth. You can't handle it. Watch out. So Martin wasn't just talking about a dream. Martin was talking about what he called the triple threat facing this democracy. What is that triple threat Martin talked about 50 years ago? 50 years ago, Martin was talking about a triple threat facing our country: racism, poverty, and militarism. Racism, poverty, and militarism. And all we want to put this brother on is I have a dream. We don't want to come to terms with the racism and the poverty and the militarism that is as much a part of America as anything else. Martin went on to say, literally 50 years ago in April, we still April. It's April, all right? So just a few days ago, April 4, 1967, Martin King gave a speech where he talked about that triple threat. It's called Beyond Vietnam. When you get a moment, since you think you only gave one speech, just Google that one speech. It's called Beyond Vietnam. And look at the truth that Martin King was telling America that, quite frankly, put a target on his back. Watch this now, watch this. He gave this speech April 4, 1967, and took America to task. Watch this. April 4, 1968, 1 year to the day later, they killed him. That speech was too much for America to handle. It's Martin King, who we love to quote. Conferences like these and beyond, we can't get to that racism, that poverty, and that militarism that Dr. King was also talking about. And when Martin gave this speech 50 years ago this month, he came out vocally and viscerally against the war in Vietnam. And Martin said then, which is still so true today, that budgets, he was talking to Lyndon Johnson, the president, who had promised a war on poverty, but then got engaged on a war in Vietnam. And all those resources that he promised for the war on poverty got diverted to the war in Vietnam. And Martin said to the president, budgets are moral documents. Am I right, Mr. Councilman? Budgets are moral documents. To quote that great philosopher, Jigga, Jay-Z, you can say what you say, but you are who you are. And when you put your budget on the table, we see who you are. Because budgets are moral documents. We have some leaders in Washington right now who have changed priorities, done a 180. I don't care about your party affiliation. Tim Scott is a friend of mine. I don't care about your party affiliation. I do care about your budget. I care about that moral doctrine. I care not about what you say, but what you do and who you really are. If nobody else comes today to tell you the truth, the budget that is being presented right now is not going to make your life, young black man, young brown man, any easier. It's only going to make it a bit more difficult. That's the hardcore reality of the opposite. And the burdens that you are willing to face. Now all those folks who were part of it a few minutes ago, when I said that there's a difference between charity and justice, and got to be real quiet on me now. A few minutes ago, you was down with me when I said charity and justice ain't the same thing. Now, we want to go back and talk about charity. We don't want to talk about justice. We want to talk about racism and poverty and militarism. We don't want to talk about the difficulty that these young black men are going to face. But that's what I'm going to talk about today. I was on the plane here late last night. Got here super late last night. And on the plane, I've been trying to get to it, but I haven't had the time. But I finally last night got to listen to Kendrick's new stuff. Y'all ready yet? Now, anybody over 25 just said, Kendrick, what you talking about? So all my white girlfriends like, Kendrick? There is an artist named Kendrick Lamar. Ask your kids about it. Ask your grandkids about it. And Kendrick just dropped some new knowledge the other day, dropped a new project. He has a track on that thing called Humble that wore me out last night. I played that thing so many times last night on the plane from Los Angeles. I just kept pressing replay because his lyrics so dope. His lyrical content is just so rich. So rich, I had to just let this thing get into my spirit. As I listened to Kendrick last night on this track called Humble, I was reminded of something my grandfather told me years ago. Tavis, before honor comes humility. Before honor comes humility. Young brothers in this room today, if you would live a life where you will eventually be honored, or have a place of honor, like the city manager who spoke earlier today, if you will live a life where you will have a place of honor, before honor, first must come humility. And if Kendrick can do a song telling you about how you got to stay on, you might not hear from me, but listen to the Kendrick track about the value of humility. Remember that before honor comes humility. I listened to that over and over again last night, and it started to seep into my spirit and started to point me in a different direction about what I wanted to talk about today. I know that a number of persons already met this topic, and I know there'll be many others who are going to talk to you about the value of education. Education is key to living a life of success. And every one of those persons who will point to the value of education will be absolutely 110% correct. Malcolm X said that education is our passport to the future. Tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. W.E.B. Du Bois said that without an education, as black men, we are twice defeated. Think about that for a second. Without education, as black and brown men, we are twice defeated. The first strike against you, obviously, is your color, that melanin in your skin. The second strike against you is what happens to you when you don't have an education. So that everyone who speaks to you today and tomorrow about the value of education will be 110% correct. And yet, because I want to tell you the truth, because I love you, there is another part to that story. Y'all ready for it? Can I keep it real? Can I keep it real? Education, young men, is not the great equalizer that it once was. Now, I know I just gave every educator in here a heart attack. Somebody called the paramedics. I think they're both going into full cardiac arrest right now. Because Tavis just told these Negroes that education ain't all this talk with to me. That's not what I said. What I said was that for black and brown men, education is not the great equalizer that it once was. Now don't get it twisted. You're smart, so you can hold two thoughts in your head at the same time. I just told you that you must have an education. Without it, you're twice defeated, right? It is the passport to your future, right? But don't get it twisted. It is not the great equalizer that it once was. Can I take a step further?
Go ahead.
If you have the same qualification and the same experience as a white male. Take one wild guess who's going to get the job. That's what I thought. Education, even after the era of the first black president. Y'all thought Obama was going to solve all these problems. Hello, he didn't. Even after Obama, this reality exists. I'm just trying to keep it real with you. Education is not the great equalizer that it once was. I know a whole bunch of Negroes with PhDs who are looking for jobs. A whole bunch of folks with a lot of experience who are looking for jobs. Not that many white Americans aren't as well. Of course they are. But it is not the great equalizer that it once was. Can I keep it real? And education, I don't care how many degrees you have, ain't going to stop you from being pulled over by a cop. You cannot hang on the outside. I don't care how many license plate on the front and the back you have with the Clemson logo on it. You can yell, "Go Tigers" all day long. Your car can be painted in the Clemson colors with a Tiger mascot on the car. It's abundantly clear as you go down the street, you went to Clemson. And they will still pull your black behind over.
Where's he going by himself?
That's not about Clemson. That's about Harvard, Yale, Indiana, where I went to school, all the others. Y'all still with me? It takes more than just an education. That's not going to stop from getting pulled over. Sadly, it won't stop from being shot by a cop. It won't stop you from being unemployable. It won't stop you being the last hired and the first fired. It's not going to change all of that. Education is not some magic wand that will automatically change everything in your life. Can I keep it real? I can tell you something else that I'm here. When you get to where I am, the rules of the game still don't change. I still every day have to fight for everything I get. Somebody, I don't want to hear this.
Oh, we hear you. I heard you.
Is a perpetual audition. Being black, being brown, being a woman is a perpetual audition. I don't care how many times you've done it. I don't care how many times you've done it well. I don't care how much better you do it than everybody else. As long as you're black, you're going to be auditioning your whole life. Your whole life. So just having an education is not going to foreclose on the audition. Y'all still with me? It's not just about a high-quality education. As important as that is, and I repeat for the third or fourth time, if you don't get it, you are stuck on stupid. Is that clear enough? If you don't get it, you're stuck on stupid. But it takes so much more than that. And that's what I want to offer you right now. I want to, in the time I have left, the few minutes I have left, I want to see if I can speed quickly through 5 things I just want you to know. I guess you can see this metaphorically as me giving you a high five from the stage, or me giving you a pound from the stage. Just 5 simple points I want to make. And I want to take my seat. I want you first to understand, young men, that whatever education you receive, I hope you'll get an undergraduate degree and a graduate degree, whatever you have the capacity to handle, get it. You will never have too much of it. You can have too little, but you won't ever have too much. Get all the degrees you can have and handle. Get all the experience you can get and handle. I'm not impressed with braininess, but I am impressed with expertise. I'm not impressed with braininess, but I am impressed with experience. Get all of that you can get, brothers. Get all of that you can get. Get it, get it, get it. When you get that, you start on your journey toward your chosen profession. I don't know what your calling, what your purpose is in the world. You got to find that out. But I want you to pursue whatever profession it is you were placed here for. I believe that every one of us is born with a calling on our lives. Are you listening to me? There is something, young man, that you can do better than everybody else in your group, of all your boys, all your partners, all